No one is perfect. These days, it's become incredibly more difficult not to compare yourself with almost everybody due to social media. And I find that a lot of us these days are always looking outward for something we feel we want. So I learned a word the other day that I feel like perfectly summed up what I'm kind of talking about. And it was meretricious, which means it's an attractive thing that has no real value. So basically, like, if I see someone is wearing a really expensive outfit and I think it's really, really cool, and I see this person getting all this attention for this outfit, and then now I want the outfit, and then I get the outfit, and then I realize I didn't actually really like the outfit, and I only liked the idea of being what that person was with the outfit on. Or, for example, if I see someone's living a lifestyle, like, rich baller, living on yachts or smoking cigars and all that shit, and I see someone doing that, I might want to do that as well. And then I realize that it's not that I actually want it. There's no substance to the need for that thing. It's just I like the idea of it. It's an attractive feeling or thought. And it kind of ties into the fact that no one is really perfect because we're always looking outward in somebody or in something for this perfect lifestyle we feel they have. This morning, I was doing a little bit of scrolling, as you do, brain rotting away. And I saw this video of this, CEO lady with her family living in some, mega mansion or just really expensive house. I'm talking, living room is a proper full-built gym. Looks like one of them garages that's, a built-out gym. Glass windows look into a massive sunny balcony, all this stuff. Built-in saunas, recovery areas, massive bed, LED multiple wardrobes with, pulling a jar. The whole 9 yard of rich, right? And I was just sitting there and thinking, damn. I want that. How do I get there? How do I accomplish this? And then I was thinking, is this really this person's life? Or are they only showing a small percentage, just how well they're living? Is this person truly happy, content? Do they feel this, do they feel that? And I started thinking, I'm only really comparing or longing for the small bit of information I have on this person's life. I don't know this person. I don't know their struggles. I don't know how long they've been in that house, how long they've had to work to get there. I only know the 30-40 second clip of their amazing house. And that's exactly how I was kind of looking at it when thinking about this topic before making this video. It's the fact that no one is perfect, and we're always looking for this perfect life we feel these people have, when in reality, none of them have a perfect life. A lot of people who have these things aren't really happy, or didn't make it to the point where they were going to be this happy for a long time. And I feel like, we're always looking in people's lives through social media, whatever it may be. Someone's always out, someone's always at the beach, on vacation, with their partner, doing whatever. But we don't know the struggles that they all go through. They might have a terrible relationship off the screen with their friends or family. They might be traveling all the time, they might hate it. They might be putting up one cool thing while doing a bunch of other not cool stuff. You're always thinking that everything is better, that the grass is greener, when it really isn't. We're always just outwardly expecting that someone's got it better than us, and we just neglect what we have. A lot of people have talked about appreciating what you have. You want to talk about music, you got Love Yours, talking about valuing what you have and that there's no life better than yours. And it's true, but I feel like the point of this video really is that we're always feeling that we could be better, that we're imperfect. And I kind of wanted everyone, including myself, to understand that imperfection is true perfection. When you go through something and it shapes you and it builds you, I'm talking all that grimy shit you have to go through, the stuff that you really would rather not think about right now. Once you've made it to the other side and you've, actually got through it, the feeling of relief, satisfaction, and peace that you get from that is one of the most, euphoric feelings ever. It's something that can't be explained. When you've actually made it through some treacherous times, whether that means you've made it in life, whether you've got over some trauma, you got over something, and you've actually come on the other side, you just feel so happy and satisfied, content with yourself. Now imagine if you were in a situation where none of that ever happened, and your life was literally just straight cut, cookie cutter clean. Absolutely Not a single bad thing or amazing thing has happened. It's just one straight line of, oh, this is pretty good. Do you think you would value that peace as much on that cookie cutter life? Or do you think you would have enjoyed it more after attaining it, after the bullshit? And this is not to say that anybody deserves to go through any of this bullshit that we all do. But it's more just kind of putting the point that living a perfect life isn't really that perfect. You know, if everything went perfectly, I seriously doubt you'd be as content or satisfied with the way your life is when something, you know, like feeling a sense of peace or getting this or working hard for that. Because a lot of the time when you've kind of just been handed everything, you don't feel the importance of it. You know, you don't value it as much because you've already had it your whole life. Same thing with this perfect life we tend to compare to. A lot of us probably wouldn't be comparing as much if we already had these things we saw. It is really hard because a lot of us are kind of stuck in this situation where we're always feeling like we need something, whether that's money, a partner, a lifestyle, friends, a mentality, a gym body. Like, we're always looking for something. And these are just the parts that we're deeply unsatisfied with in ourselves. And it's hard, man, because like, it's not that easy to just quit social media and not compare. You'll still compare yourself to people on the street or people you see, or your friends might talk about new jobs or new experiences or new things or new that. And you'll always feel like there can be a disconnect depending on the situation. And I kind of just wanted to kind of use this story of this reel that I watched to kind of be a greater example of the fact that all of us do this. And I think it's even a more important fact that even the people with these things are still comparing to other people who, you know, look happier, seem happier, look healthier. It doesn't matter who you are, we're always comparing to each other. And I'm sure there's a select few who don't. But generally speaking, man, anybody with a phone these days is always looking at somebody else's lifestyle, never really looking inward. And there's a great story, and I absolutely love it. It's from the Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. And it was one of the first few pages, and it was talking about when he first discovered presence after basically cracking. When he sat at the park for like 2 hours on the bench just in the sun, just with an immense level of peace and satisfaction. And then people came up to him asking him, how do you have that? How can I have that? How can I be like you? How can I be at peace? And then he says to them, you already can. And I think this is a prime example, you know, the perfect idiom of exactly what I'm talking about here. People are always wanting what someone else has. You know, they're looking for that perfect life or perfect thing they feel they need in another person. When the story of Eckhart here is that he had his own problems he was dealing with, and then the peace that he was longing for was in him all along. And this isn't a video about, you know, finding peace within yourself or anything, but it's the fact that what he wanted, he already had it and he was already able to attain it. You know, he was looking for that peace in other people, and then when he finally attained the peace by looking inward, now people are looking to him for that peace. And I just think it's an amazing story because it really, you know, summarizes even society today. Sometimes what we feel we want, we don't need, because we're looking for this idea of perfect, when you can obviously find more satisfaction in the imperfect. You know, a lot of us might not be happy with the way our life is right now, but the fact is that this imperfect period, you know, this terrible part of your life that you feel is holding you down, is really just a part of the process. And then once you've climbed over this hurdle and, you know, it's passed and really passed, I don't mean just it's been a little while, I mean like when you've really kind of gotten over it, you just feel so much better about yourself. And, you know, why when people talk about the grind and the struggles and making it, you know, they always talk about the struggle, you know, the hard work, but no one really goes into the depths of it. And really, when they're talking about the struggle, a lot of them are talking about, you know, just the bitterness, the self-hatred, the loathing, the feeling like you're not good enough, like these terrible parts of the process, you know, the rock bottoms. You know, without those experiences, you're not able to really value and appreciate that end goal that you end up having. You know, you think about people's origin stories, look at where they are now. Do you think they would appreciate what they have now as much as they didn't go through that? Like, really think about it. Even think about you. Do you think you would have been as gifted, as intelligent, as, you know, sane, as happy as you are right now if you didn't go through those terrible things? And in the same spectrum, if you're feeling at your lowest, you feel like everything's against you because of these things, all I can say is that you're just at the bottom of the rut. You haven't gotten to the other side of it yet. Everyone always has light at the end of the tunnel. Unfortunately, as much as optimistic and happy as that sounds, that could be entirely subjective based on your situation. There is always light at the end of the tunnel, as it always can get better, but how you choose to get to that point is always going to be different. Not to break down the metaphor, but if you're sitting in the dark tunnel and you sit in the middle of the road, you just sit there, you do nothing. Same thing as you're not progressing to get out the tunnel. You're not looking for the light. You're just sitting there wallowing in the darkness of it. It's the same thing in life where, you can't get anywhere if you don't keep moving forward. Same thing as you'll get to a destination if you move backward too, but you won't get to a destination if you sit there and do nothing. I mean, you might, but not in the way you'd hope. So I kind of wanted this video just to serve as an important reminder that even though we always compare to other people and we feel that we don't have it as good as all of our peers and people in the world, it's important to remember that people aren't perfect, and you will never see the side of them they refuse to show. You won't see the problems they have with their friends, families, and partners. You won't see the mental struggles. You won't see their anxiety and mental health. You won't see their body dysmorphia or the way that they look at things. You're only going to see what they show you or what they try to show you. It's very easy to hide behind a mask when you're dealing with something. A lot of people do it. I've done it. You've probably done it. Just imagine that when you meet someone who looks like they have their shit together, they might be hiding behind a lot of bullshit, a lot of trauma, a lot of things that affect them behind closed doors. So before you compare yourself and think that someone else's life is perfect, remember you're only seeing that 5%. And sometimes in life, we'll have 90% of what we want already, but we'll go looking for that 10%. And by the time we get that 10%, we realize it was only 10%. And we've lost that 90% that we yearned and worked so hard for. But I mean, hey, the grass isn't greener on the other side. It's only greener when you stop to water it. But anyway, I'll see you all in the next one.